deliver a joint statement from the OPC.
Nice to see everyone. Да. Василий Алексеевич, иди сюда. Сюда.
Can we go?
Yes, there will be one. So are we ready? Good afternoon, colleagues. Sorry for the delay. Let me open the joint press conference of the Syrian Arab Republic and the Russian Federation. We have Russian Ambassador Nebenzia and Ambassador Bassam Sabbagh here. And we are starting with the remarks of Russian Ambassador. Ambassador, you have the floor.
Thank you, Fyodor. Once again, I apologize for being too late and keeping you too long. I spoke too much today already, so I will not be repeating myself. You know the reason why we called this press conference. This report that was just released, which we, as I said, do not recognize, like we are not recognizing the IIT itself, do not support this structure. Its members are not even chemists. Look at the irony of this. They are just legal prosecutors appointed to rubber stamp fake reports. From its very establishment, the main purpose of the IIT has apparently been to whitewash the illegal acts of aggression against Syria in April 2017 and 2018. Instead of conducting genuine investigations, this team of so-called experts merely reduced itself to retranslating ungrounded accusations of some states. As for the methodology, the investigations of the OPCW Technical Secretariat are often based on the information from open sources without even getting to the site of events that they analyze. Their conclusions cannot stand any criticism and abound in false assertions which are put forward without any respect to the main principle of OPCW investigations, the chain of custody, which is not observed, has not been observed in all the recent investigations that were conducted. I will not be repeating myself too much because I already spoke in detail during the Council's meeting. I think that what I'll do, I'll give the floor to my colleague, Ambassador Bassam Sabbagh, to add a few words, and then I understand you will show a short video.
Thank you very much, Vassily. Thank you all for attending this press conference. It's very clear that Ambassador Nebenzia elaborates on the aspects related to the issues of the what's so-called the IIT report. In my statements before the Council, I also emphasize on many aspects, but let me here highlight two of them. First, the issue of illegitimacy. This team established in a very illegitimate way. Half of the members of the OPCW, 82 out of 193, voted for this. Many countries voted against or abstained or absent from voting. So this happened in the OPCW for the first time. Second, the methodology of work. The IIT basically follows the same wrong methodology of work which was used by the fact-finding mission. And mainly, Ambassador Nebenzia mentioned the issue of gathering or taking the samples and maintaining the chain of custody. According to the CWC, this has to be done by the inspectors and has to be maintained from the time where they collected until it's reached the laboratories, designated laboratories by the OPCWs. Did not happen in the case of Douma. They received these samples. From whom? We don't know. Who collected? We don't know. And from where? We don't know. So this is something very, very important. I wanted to show you some of the testimonies in a documentary we prepared from the people of Douma, those who were in Douma, and they did not leave Douma since then. So they testify. It's a short, it's like 6-7 minutes. And then if you have any questions, we will be more than happy to take it and to answer it. Thank you.
إنه 14 من نيسان عام 2018. البوارج الحربية الأمريكية البريطانية والفرنسية تضيء سماء المتوسط بعدوان ثلاثي استهدف الأراضي السورية. هذا العدوان كان بسبب ما زعموه بأنه تم استخدام السلاح الكيميائي في مدينة دوما بريف دمشق. بعد انتشار هذا الفيديو وادعاءات قادة المجموعات المسلحة في تلك المنطقة بأن الحكومة السورية استخدمت الغازات السامة ضد المدنيين في دوما. جلسة طارئة في مجلس الأمن حاولت من خلالها دول العدوان إدانة الحكومة السورية. بالمقابل رفضت الكثير من الدول وعلى رأسها روسيا والصين هذه الإدانات دون تقديم دليل واضح. الحكومة السورية سرعان ما طالبت بشكل مباشر بإجراء تحقيق شفاف ونزيه من قبل منظمة حظر الأسلحة الكيميائية، ووجهت دعوة لهم بالفعل. قبل وصول لجنة منظمة حظر الأسلحة الكيميائية إلى سوريا بيوم واحد، قامت دول العدوان بقصف الأراضي السورية. بعد زيارة مكان الحادث من قبل اللجنة المكلفة، خلص التقرير باتهام سوريا باستخدام الكيميائي. نتيجة كانت صادمة للكثير من أعضاء لجنة التحقيق. إيان هندرسون كبير المحققين في اللجنة الدولية التابعة لمنظمة حظر الأسلحة الكيميائية رفض ما خلص إليه التقرير النهائي، متهما المنظمة بتزوير النتائج وإخفاء الحقائق والأدلة التي قدمها في تقريره. الصحفي الكندي آرون ماتي زار موقع الحادث في دوما وخرج برسالة صادمة للعالم.
I'm in Douma, Syria, not far from where the Douma deception was staged, one of the biggest pro-war deceptions since the Iraq War. This is where, in April 2018, dozens of bodies were filmed inside of a building. And the people who put out this video claimed that the victims had been subjected to a chemical weapons attack by the Syrian government. This led to airstrikes on Syria by the US, UK, and France. But now we know that the alleged Douma incident was staged. We know that because a hospital scene that was filmed here was confirmed by the people who were in the video and doctors to be a hoax put on by the White Helmets, which was a US, UK funded organization that worked very closely with the sectarian militias inside Syria.
الصحفي الكندي لم يكتفي بهذا الفيديو، بل غرد على موقع تويتر حول أداء منظمة حظر الأسلحة الكيميائية وتقريرها النهائي، وتحدث بالتفصيل. آرون ماتي الصحفي الكندي قال: كانت المهمة الرئيسية هي تحليل الأسطوانتين اللتين تم العثور عليهما في مسرح دوما، لكن هندرسون واجه مقاومة من مرتبة عليا. كان هذا الأمر مقلقا. لم يكن هناك أحد ضمن الفريق يملك المعرفة والخبرة اللازمة لإجراء الدراسة الهندسية كالخبير المخضرم في منظمة الأسلحة الكيميائية إيان هندرسون. غرد الصحفي الكندي أيضا: تمكن هندرسون من المضي قدوا في دراسته الهندسية وقدم نتائج ليتم مراجعتها من قبل الزملاء، لكن هندرسون وجه بمشكلة ثانية. رفض رؤساؤه قبول دراسته، بل وأمروا بإزالة النسخة من الأرشيف. دراسة إيان هندرسون وصلت إلى نتيجة هندسية. إنه تم وضع الأسطوانات بشكل يدوي، نافيا احتمالية إلقائهم من الجو عبر الطيران. تم حذف دراسة هندرسون العلمية ووضع كلام شهود مجهولين لتسييس التقرير وفق رغبة دول العدوان على سوريا. منظمة دولية تدعم الذين يخاطرون بحياتهم وحريتهم لتقديم مساهمات في سجل التاريخ قامت بدراسة نتائج التقرير النهائي للجنة منظمة حظر الأسلحة الكيميائية. بعد الدراسة التي قامت بها لجنة مؤلفة من خوسيه بوستاني المدير العام الأول لمنظمة حظر الأسلحة الكيميائية، والبروفيسور ريتشارد فالك بروفيسور القانون الدولي في جامعة برينستون، والمقرر الخاص السابق لدى الأمم المتحدة، والدكتور هيلموت تيلو هيرر دكتور تابع للأطباء الدوليين لمنع الحرب النووية. هذه اللجنة وافقت بالإجماع أن هناك ممارسات غير مقبولة للمنظمة التي تسعى لإخفاء المعلومات بهدف الوصول إلى نتيجة مسبقة كما حصل في تحقيق دوما.
طبعا أبو عبد الرحمن اللي هو سمير كعكي حكى إنه نحن ممكن نتغير الموقف وبس بدنا صبر وبس بدنا كذا. في بالمقابل أي شخص نحن نعتبره أو أي شخص رح يدعو للتسوية أو رح يوالي التسوية أو رح يدعو لأنه وقف هدر الدم نعتبره فار من الزحف.
لما انت بتناقشهم بدقوا هيك سلاحهم على الطاوله بيقول لك انه نحن بدنا نصمد لاخر لحظه. شو مقيمات الصمود عندكم؟ الضحايا، يعني يقدموا ضحايا هن. كل ما زادت الضحايا بصير في عندهم دعم برا اكثر، يعني الدعم مقابل الدم.
هو يوم الجمعة بعد صلاة الجمعة بيعملوا دروس ويعني في من نتكلم من الناس اللي بالمسجد اللي هن يعني لهم نفوذ انه اصبروا وفي قدامكم حدث حيكون حيغير موازين القوى مثل ما بيقولوا.
بتاريخ 7/4/2018 أنا كنت طبيب المناوب بالمشفى الإسعافي بمدينة دوما. بهذاك اليوم تحديدا حوالي الساعة 12 الظهر وصلت تعليمات لإدارة المشفى أبلغتنا فيها إنه استعدوا ممكن يصير حدث ما يقلب الطاولة على النظام.
بحدود الساعة 5:30 ل6 بهذا الوقت تقريبا.
هذا التوقيت يوضح بشكل لا مجال فيه للشك بأن ما ورد في تقرير منظمة حظر الأسلحة الكيميائية حول توقيت الاستهداف غير صحيح. حدد فريق تقصي الحقائق ساعة الاستهداف بالساعة 7 أي الساعة 19 كما جاء في التقرير، لكن هذا الفيديو صور في 6:45 أي قبل 75 دقيقة. فكيف صورت حالة على أنها مصابة بالغاز قبل 75 دقيقة مما ورد في تقريرها النهائي لمنظمة حظر الأسلحة الكيميائية؟
صار انه الاصابه الحاله اللي تجينا نحن يرش عليها مي، بعض الحالات تجينا نحن يرش عليها مي.
هون انا بيت حمايه وفي بجنب لما بيت جيراننا كان بنعرفهم كثير بيقربوا بيت حمايه، وفي بيت خوالي كمان بالاولي اخر واحد يعني فيه. نحن انا اللي جنبه يعني انا قعدت باللي جنبه ما فيني شيء، طلعت ما فيني شيء، بس قالوا انه بيت خالي ميتين كلهم، يعني حتى ما حدا طلع من هون عايش. واخذوهم صرنا نسال عليهم ما نعرف، يعني انه ما نعرف لا ميتين لا عايشين وشو صار فيهم الله اعلم. يعني نحن ما عرفنا شو صار عن جد، يعني ما بعرف اي شيء عنهم ابدا ابدا ولا فكره.
خرجت انا ووجهاء البلد كثير منهم بغض النظر عن اسمائهم، وقصدنا قياده الجيش الاسلامي لنسالهم من اصيب، من مات من اثر هذه الغازات، فكان جوابهم الامتناع عن الجواب، يعني لم يجيبونا بكلمة واحدة. طيب أخرجوا لنا جثثا، أخرجوا لنا أحدا مات أو أصيب كي نراهم. كان الجيش الإسلامي يتهربون من الجواب، قيادة الجيش الإسلامي تتهرب من الجواب وتقول أن هناك غازات وهناك ضرب من الجيش السوري وهناك يعني تهويل إعلامي للموضوع كثير، لكن نحن طالبناهم بالجثث، طالبناهم بالموتى من أصيب بالغازات، لم يجبنا أو يعطونا أي شاهد أو دليل واحد على وجود إصابات أو وفاة.
hoax that was staged with the willing help of the OPCW Technical Secretariat and personally with the help of Director General. Today I listened to him. He spoke at length, but I didn't hear a single sustainable, serious answer to the many questions that we're asking. It's like talking, blind talking to the deaf. That was my feeling today. Same concerns not just Director General Arias, of course, but also our Western colleagues who won't listen to any arguments. They don't need it because their picture of the events is clear. They have now the proof of seal by the report of the OPCW Secretariat. The case is closed.
Just before taking the questions, I have to draw to your attention that this is a very short or very small part of the documentary. So if you want to have it all, so you can scan this QR. The second, hold on, if you allow me. The second issue is related to the victims. They alleged that there are 43 people killed in this incident. So no one knowing about these 42. We don't have their names, we don't have their bodies. So basically we just have this number in the report, but no one have anything about them. So please.
Thank you, Theodore. Alan Bulkati from Russian news agency RIA Novosti. On behalf of the United Nations Correspondents Association, thank you for doing this briefing. I have two, please. The first one is for both of you, ambassadors. What particular consequences will this last IIT report entail for Syria? And the second question is for Ambassador Sabbagh, please. Given the fact that you do not consider the IIT as a legal body, how do you foresee the further cooperation with OPCW? And is there a possibility that of the withdrawal of Syria from the OPCW?
Okay. In terms of our cooperation with the OPCW, we are a very responsible member of the OPCW. We took a strategic decision to join the OPCW in 2013. We implement our obligations according to the CWC, and we are working with the technical secretariats on all aspects related to our obligations. Anything out of obligations, we are not responsible for.
On what happens next, Alan, answering your question, I don't know what will happen next. Some of our partners in the Security Council are very inventive, I know it, and what they have in mind, that's not for me to judge. They didn't share it with me. Let's see. Let's see what happens next. But again, whatever happens next will be based on a hoax report. You have to understand that.
Pamela, you go next.
Thank you so much, Fedor. Thank you, Ambassador Nebenzia. Thank you, Ambassador Sabbagh. It's Pamela Falk from CBS News. My question is about your stakeout yesterday, about the crossings from Turkey to Syria with the earthquake relief. We just heard from Dujarric that the hub is still going at Bab al-Hawa, but the road is damaged. It's preventing a lot of the aid from going in. Are you considering other crossings, which many countries have called for? Thank you so much.
Thank you for the question. I think I answered very clearly yesterday. I said, crossline is available. Syrian government is ready to help, to support any countries who wanted to provide the shelters, the food supply, the medications to the Syrians anywhere in Syria. We can help, we can support, we can work with. So I think the possibility is there, as we have Aleppo airport receiving humanitarian assistance, and the crossing point, it's not far, it's like 40 kilometers from the airport. So I think it's possible, and the government committed to do so.
It's just that a lot of reports are that as much, the aid is need is enormous. How are you opening up some of this to get more in?
I didn't catch your question exactly.
You said that it, of course, as far as you're concerned, it has to go through Damascus to be distributed. But are the crossings, right now it's Bab al-Hawa from Turkey to Syria. Are there other places that aid will be allowed in?
You have to understand that Bab al-Hawa is not controlled by the government, it's controlled by Jabhat al-Nusra. So you are asking me about something which is out of our controls. What I said, that anything under our control is ready, and we are going to help on that.
And just to follow up, the UK said they will be using the white helmets, which of course came up in this documentary. What's your view on that?
It's their establishment. It's established by the British intelligence. So if they use it, I will not be surprised.
Nizar, then
thank you, Nizar Aboud of Al Mayadeen Television. My question is, Mr. Arias raised the issue of 2 cylinders being moved away 60 kilometers from where they are supposed to remain. 16. So once he said 16, then another time he said 60. So why were they removed? Do you have an explanation of why they were removed?
It's very, let's say, technical aspects. When these cylinders took from the site in Douma, they kept in a storage. And then we had the request from the OPCW that they wanted to revisit and to examine these 2 cylinders. So they asked us not to do anything with it unless they finish this job. Then the team from the OPCW came and examined the cylinder. So by this, we believe that this is not requested to be maintained in the same place anymore. Then we move it to another storage, and this storage hit by Israelis attacked, and the 2 cylinders were destroyed. So the argument by the OPCW that these 2 cylinders moved to the new storage has no validity, because for the reason they asked to keep it, we implemented, they re-examined, and they visited the site where it was storage.
A quick follow-up. Also the report speaks about 43 people, and the names are mentioned in the report. You said that there were no casualties or no mortalities in the incident. Where did they come with the 43 names in this report, and where are the bodies?
The lady in the documentary said, my relatives, my uncle's family. She said, living in this. So after the incident, They disappeared. She said it. So if her relatives are up until now disappeared, so what we will consider this? I don't know.
Thank you so much. This is Abdul Hamid Sayam from the Arabic daily Al-Quds Al-Arabi. I have two questions, one for Ambassador Nebenzia and one for I'm the Ambassador of Syria, Sabbagh. Mr. Nebenzia, 2 days ago, I think a senior Russian official, on the occasion of the speech given by Colin Powell in the Security Council on 6 February 2002, as you know, this senior official called for the follow-up investigation of the campaign of deceit that led to the invasion of Iraq. How do you gonna go ahead with this call? Are you serious about investigating the crimes and atrocities committed against the Iraqi people by the US invasion? And my question to my Syrian ambassador, there is a poem by Mahmoud Darwish, put the two enemies, Palestinian and Israeli, were put in a cave or in a well, and they found a snake, and they have to cooperate together to save themselves. Would this incident, would this earthquake bring Syria and Turkey closer to each other, work together, and maybe reconcile in the near future? Thank you very much.
There are many things in this world left uninvestigated. And of course, the Iraqi hoax was never properly investigated. Nobody paid real responsibility for the crimes committed in Iraq. And I shall not be explaining to you why. Today, to think that there will be something like a tribunal on the Iraqi war would be a little bit unrealistic. People are busy with other things these days, but the questions remain. I mean, there are so many crimes committed which are pretended to be not existent, non-existing then at all, as if nothing had happened. This is the hypocrisy of today's world, of the world itself, and of the policies of some of our partners, including here in the Security Council.
Then Michel.
Hi, ambassadors.
The earthquake hit both of our people, Syrians and Turks. This is a very devastating humanitarian situation. And I think both people are now struggling for surviving. As for your questions, I think we made it very clear that whatever it says toward the improvement of the relations between our two countries has to accompanied by actions on the ground. So there were some military meetings, and there were some exchange of views, and we are waiting to see tangible results on the ground. I think if we have a progress on that, you can see progress on the improvement of the relationship. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Hi, ambassadors. This is Deji with China Central Television. My questions are for Ambassador Sabbagh. I just talked to my friends in Syria. He said in Aleppo it's disaster here. Too many people on the rubble, no enough fuel for heavy vehicles and efficient workers there. And I noticed that just a couple moments ago, the Foreign Ministry of Syria actually said that U.S. sanctions hinder humanitarian relief efforts in Syria. So I just want to ask your opinion on this. How would the sanction hinder the efforts there? And second, I just want to know, because you just said that you are ready to help the rebel-controlled area for the humanitarian relief. If this is the case, that the government-controlled area, you don't have enough equipment or resources, how can you ensure that you will give enough resources for the rebel-controlled area, especially for more cross-line humanitarian operations? Thank you.
Despite the fact that this press conference is designated for the issue of the report of the IIT, but I will answer your question. How these sanctions hinder the humanitarian access? I'll tell you very simple, that a lot of the cargo airplane refused to land on Syrian airports because of the American and European sanctions. So even those countries who want to send humanitarian assistance, they cannot use the airplane cargo because of the sanctions. Of course, the lack of equipment and the lack of capabilities in the government, it's there because of the situation and because of the sanctions. That's why we made an appeal for all countries, member of the United Nations, to help on that situation. So basically, all Syria needed this assistance. So whatever we receive, it will be for all Syrians. So we do not differentiate between this and that. So if countries X or Y provided this assistance, all Syrians who need it will be benefited from that.
So you will promise you will distribute the humanitarian assistance fairly?
Absolutely.
Thanks, Ambassadors. Michelle Nichols from Reuters. Few questions, but I'll keep them short. First of all, back on topic on chemical weapons, the British ambassador this morning said that they're concerned that the government in Syria is working actively to rebuild its chemical weapons stockpile and has been doing so since 2018. I'd like to get your response to that. On cross-border aid deliveries, can you just clarify for us that is it still the Syrian government's position that any cross-border aid deliveries is a violation of your sovereignty and territorial integrity? Is that still the case after the earthquake? The UN has spoken a lot about bureaucratic and security obstacles to cross-line deliveries. So what is the government doing to facilitate deliveries, cross-line deliveries now in the wake of the earthquake? And Ambassador, while we have you, will we see peace in Ukraine in 2023?
You asked me when there will be peace in Ukraine.
Will we see peace in Ukraine in 2023?
I hope, we all hope for peace. We all hope for peace, and I hope that when this arms build-up and this madness about it, which we will discuss tomorrow at the Security Council briefing, will stop, and when those who promote it will stop their proxy war against us, with the help of poor Ukrainians who are dying for them, and when they are realistic in heeding to our concerns, which we very clearly stated from day one, then I think the prospects for peace will be nearer. So far, unfortunately, I don't see any readiness on the other side to engage in anything meaningful.
Can you remind us what those concerns are?
We said it. We said it in the beginning that this is that what was happening in Ukraine was a security issue for us. That we want Ukraine to to demilitarize and to denazify, and that we want to make sure that no threats are proceeding from that territory to the Russian Federation. These were announcements that were made officially in the very beginning of that crisis.
As for what the British ambassador was telling you, I think this is basically part of the hostile propaganda made against Syria. So I don't think they have anything substantiate these accusations. It's part of their lies, as they used to be. For the second question, it's not that we consider, it's the international law. It is the UN Charter. So don't characterize it as this is a position of Syria. It is a position of each and every country who are keen to maintain sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity. So it's a principle. So if it's happened to your country or to his country, it will be the same. Without the control of the government, without permission of the government, without approval from the government, this is violation.